This is a very special episode of Viva on the Street. It's Viva on the Street on the road, because tonight I'm going to be on Timcast IRL in real life with Robert Barnes, which means I actually crossed the border between Canada and the United States. And when I explained to you the journey that I had to go through just to get over the border, we are living through a period of collective madness. There's no other way of describing it. And the question I have to me is, how is this era going to be remembered in 25, 50, 100 years? But we'll get there. Tonight, I had to do it. Timcast IRL, it's only in person. And for those of you who don't know, the border between Canada and the US, the land border, still closed to non-essential travel. Journalism is an exception. It's deemed essential work, and therefore it's one of the exceptions. There's a bunch of other exceptions. You just have to rely on the judgment and the determination of the border agent. So you're taking a chance because they can turn you back. So I get all my paperwork, get my negative COVID rapid test just to show them that I'm not a menace to society. And I go and I get approved to cross the border, which is amazing. The border agents were amazing, and I think I actually picked up a couple of extra subs, but the land border is closed to non-essential travel, but not airplanes. Now, I understand the rationale to some extent, but all that this says is if you have enough money, you can travel for non-essential purposes. But if you're not wealthy, you're not that wealthy that you can afford flights out, too bad, so sad, wait until the border opens up again. That's one element of the collective madness in terms of these measures that the government is imposing, which, there might be some justification to, but there seems to be a lack of logic for. Allowing international flights, they have to show negative testing as well, but the land border closed, so if you don't have the means, you're not going anywhere. I made it across, had coffee with my best friend in New York on the way, and we were talking about how we came to this point. In Canada is, a little bit more far gone than the United States. Australia, more far gone than Canada. How did we get here? I mean, it's still to say, even in the United States, things are, they're mad. There is very little rhyme or reason to some of the measures being implemented right now. And the question is, how did we get here? And what is history going to think of this? Thinking of how we got here, it is amazing that it's a convergence of a number of phenomena that have been brewing, developing, exacerbating over the years. Governments not respecting constitutional rights, big tech censorship, social media virtue signaling phenomenon. I mean, these things have existed for years. They have been getting worse and worse over years. And then you have this pandemic where they all come together and form the perfect storm of creating mass hysteria, virtue signaling on social medias. When fear becomes the new virtue, people start to breed fear in others because people start thinking it's virtuous to be fearful and react accordingly. Government censorship, government not respecting constitutional rights, all of these things came together in the perfect storm to breed the environment that we have right now. An environment, just to give you an update on some of the stuff coming out of Canada, without getting into detail, a Manitoba court today justified the restrictions on gatherings for churches based on the fact that, according to the science or the general consensus at the time these measures were implemented, the measures were justifiable. Now, bear this in mind, stadiums are open, restaurants within the stadiums are open to full capacity for those who are double vaccinated, yet small businesses in Canada, small restaurants, are operating at limited capacity. Try to make sense of that. I got an email this week, which was the directives for schools as to what a child has to do if they came in contact with someone who tested positive for COVID. And I did a video on these measures a while back because it came out of the Peel region of Ontario, where apparently the government was saying kids as young as 5 need to isolate, not if they're positive, not if they have symptoms waiting for a negative test. If they came into contact with someone who was positive, the kids have to isolate. And I did a video on this explaining that, in my humble opinion, as a rational human and a parent, that is government-sanctioned child abuse. 2 years ago, the idea of isolating a child, not because they are massively contagious, afflicted with the bubonic plague, not because they're sick, not because they're waiting for a negative test, asymptomatic but came in contact, isolate for upwards of 10 days. And to show how fickle and irrational and baseless these measures are, the next day another email comes out and says, Public Health has reassessed their directive. The kids no longer need to isolate. There is no rhyme or reason to this. It is panic, government using a good excuse to expand its control, and its absolute hysteria that you get with social media and everyone trying to outdo the other in terms of the signaling of what they're doing purportedly for the greater good without realizing that what they are in fact doing is greatly damaging the greater good, potentially irreparably. But I think we're going to calm down from this and look back on it and say, yeah, that escalated quickly and we all went a little bit too crazy. But the case law coming out of Canada is not encouraging because the courts are systematically upholding the government measures compared to the United States, where at the very least for religious gatherings, the Supreme Court has come down on the side of freedom of religion. Whereas in Canada, the court literally said it was not a charter violation and the restrictive measures were justified given the pandemic, based on the science that they have. Anyhow, so that is the state of where I am right now. It has been about 12 hours of driving, endless stress, because as I got here, I realized I needed the PCR test negative in order to get back into Canada, but some of them take 2 to 5 days to get the results. And so I was driving around like not like a madman, just panicking, trying to find a place to get a PCR test, which I will, and I've gotten it, and I'll be able to go back to Canada. But that's just the update. And tonight's going to be amazing. Tonight is going to be, it's a moment I've been waiting for a long time. On the one hand, to meet Robert Barnes in person, because we have become close friends and developed this amazing thing that we have, and we've never met in person. And to come on Timcast, Tim Pool, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. So that is an update as to the what I have gone through over the last 24 hours to get here, to get on Timcast tonight at 8 o'clock. So I will try to do a vlog tomorrow, but I just wanted to give everyone a heads up where things are. Check it out tonight, Timcast. Peace.